Hi everybody, I was getting ready to film part 2 of the switching, and I heard on the scanner that there's some kind of special move coming through town, so they made the switcher sit on the siding in front of wherever, and the whole town has turned out to watch. So I have no idea what this is. I'm going to stay here and see what happens. I definitely hear something. Well, I had no idea that was going to happen. We'll talk some more about that in a minute. Now that all the excitement is over, we can go ahead and switch out Union Spring. We've already uncoupled behind the full gondola. We're going to have to pull forward through the crossover and then back into Union Spring to pull the empty. Okay, we've thrown the switches. Now we're going to pick up the empty. We decided we'd go ahead and put it on the other track. Hopefully this won't come back to bite us later with my short runarounds. We'll see. Alright, that'll do for now. Alright, we're clear. We uncoupled, so now we're going to pull out of the spur, throw the switch, and go back to the crossover to pick up the rest of the train. Stop here and let the brakeman throw the switch. Camera a little bit for you. I'll show you how I'm doing this when I'm done. Okay, now we need to keep backing up a little bit to get to the crossover. Oh, I said this engine just is not as smooth as some of my others. All right. A little bit fast there. So we've gone back and we've got the rest of our cars. Now we're going to pull up so we can run around to do the rest of them, but I'll leave that for another session. So I'll end this and we'll talk about the special guest appearance that we had. I need to get some people to put on that picnic table. All right, let's talk about the steam engine. First of all, let me show you how I filmed a lot of this. I've got this little tripod they got at Walmart, cell phone tripod, you know, it has 10, 12 bucks, something like that. Really comes in handy, and a lot of times I can set it right up on the layout. But you know, with the trees and the houses and the wires and stuff like that, sometimes I can't always get it there. My tripod, I can't get this close because it's a tripod. I can't get the camera this close. So I thought, well, I'll try this. So I've just got a couple of big clamps. This thing's just sitting on it, and I can adjust the angle. I've got the toothy side up, so this is less likely to slide. It worked pretty good. I just always try to get different angles to show you guys so you're not bored with the same old stuff, because I mean, I face it, I only have the same industry, so so it's not going to be a lot of different things I could show you. So try to get different angles. So let's talk about the steam engine now. So if you've been following along with the module construction, you know I decided I was going to just sort of stage a steam engine and a caboose or something on the bridge just to help, you know, show it off a little bit. So I've sort of been shopping around for a steam engine, and my original thought was to just get some cheap old Bachmann thing at a train show for 20 bucks. I didn't care if it ran or not, you know, to put on there. But then I just decided I just hated to do that. So I started researching around. This is a Bachmann. It's one of the new ones, and actually Spook Show says this is the best locomotive they have ever made. It's a 280 consolidation. Found one in Norfolk and Western. And it's going to be really tough for me to repaint it because the N&W is my all-time favorite railroad that my grandfather and uncle both worked for, and I grew up like 100 feet away from the main line. So B&O is probably my second favorite railroad. The reason why I chose B&O to model Chillicothe is because the N&W was the second railroad through Chillicothe and has very little presence switching-wise there other than the paper company. Well, the B&O had this long industrial section, which I modeled here. They had a section on the west end of town, which was really interesting, right off downtown. And then they had this newer section that I modeled, which is the east end of Chillicothe, where the industries were a little bit newer. Most of them came after World War II. So anyhow, long story short, I found this engine, decided to get it. And I have to agree with Spook Show. This has outperformed my expectations. I reprogrammed the whistle because I didn't really like the whistle that came on it. So I think that's actually a Santa Fe. It gives you like 7 or 8 different options for it. And I just didn't really like the one that came on it. It's got a nice bell. Headlight's kind of weak on it. And one thing I don't like, and I don't understand why people do this, they put a dummy coupler on the front end. You know, if I'm going to operate, this is an engine that would like run a local freight. It needs to be able to push cars around with the front end and the sidings and things. I'm going to try to replace that coupler. I'm hoping it's not too big a deal, but still, I don't plan on running this a whole lot. Interesting thing, though, Oak Hill has a festival every year. And in the 70s, and at least in the 80s, there's a Hocking Valley Scenic Railroad. You know, I don't know, it's 40, 50 miles away. Well, they would run an excursion up the old C&O, then down the C&O down to Dundas, Ohio, and they get on the B&O there, and they actually run into, no, let's see, no, they stayed on the C&O into Jackson, and then they would run from Jackson on the B&O down to Oak Hill. So I have photos of a 280 engine like this right next to the Oak Hill Depot. So I'm going to have to come up with a couple passenger cars and have an excuse to every once in a while have an excursion, because this engine is just too nice to sit on a bridge and never run. I'm going to start it up on speed step 1 here. Now, I don't have very many diesels that will start on speed step 1. Of course it stalls. Well, now I haven't cleaned this track lately, but I mean, this is pretty daggone good. Yeah, for a steam engine, this is definitely the best running steam engine I have ever. So let me put it on speed step 2, give it a little bit of a break. I mean, that is nice operation. Yeah. So anyhow, I thought I'd share that with you. I'm going to get back to the module tomorrow. I thought I'd throw up this switching operation and a sort of like semi-review of the Bachmann 280. I'm very, very happy with it. I'm not going to steam, although if I could come up with a Shay with sound and N-scale, oh, I'd be tempted, because I love Shays. So maybe somewhere down the line, but right now I'm sticking with my chassis system and my diesels. Have any questions or comments, let me know. My wife is always on me to tell people to give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I rarely ever do it. But if you want to, I won't mind. So everybody stay safe. Okay, if you've watched my videos for a while, you know I don't script anything. I just speak from the cuff. So I said something wrong there. I want to correct it. This is Nelsonville, Ohio. This is where the Hocking Valley Scenic Railroad is. It's an old Hocking Valley branch line. Basically, the Scenic Railroad runs from Nelsonville to almost Logan. And the rest of it from Logan up to Columbus is run by another short line. When they ran their steam engine from there, they ran up to Logan. And they ran down this line here, which is abandoned. It's been abandoned since the 80s or whatever. When they got to Dundas, that's where the blue line is the Baltimore, Ohio. So they got on the B&O, and they ran down to Hamden, which I've talked about Hamden before. In Hamden, they got on the Portsmouth branch, which Oak Hill's on, and they ran down to Jackson and then down to Oak Hill. That was the route they took to get the passenger train there. So they did not run from Dundas to Jackson on the C&O, although it did used to connect that way, but when the B&O and the C&O formed the chassis system, they abandoned one of them. And actually, I think they might have abandoned the B&O and ran on the C&O, but it was all part of pretty much the B&O at that point, as far as operationally. So here's Chance. He's definitely feeling better. I know you can't tell by the video. Still having some occasional seizures, but he's eating better. You think he looks bad now. This is much better. Diarrhea is pretty much gone. I was worried about being constipated, but that's not a problem either. So just it's going to be a while before he gets back to normal, but he's doing well. Everybody stay safe.